Hello there. Sacrifice. Why we have a sacrifice in this world? What does it mean, a sacrifice? Why the person wants to sacrifice? Sacrifice. We hear it a lot. We have a sacrifice, in other words, because we want to get something much better. We sacrifice the moment for something longer. We sacrifice something now with a price cheaper for something more expensive. We sacrifice our probably studies, our time for studies, to get something much better. Now, the first sacrifice, what is the meaning of you sacrifice something? What do you have? A person does something unconsciously. Maybe he says something, but what is inside his mind, his intuition, is something different. Person may do something in life, but what is pushing him to do something is something else. He ignores completely. So we have this tendency to sacrifice something. We say, this is for this reason, this is for this reason, but unconsciously, intuitively, the person wants to prove himself. He wants to, validate himself, the words in this existence. And why he wants to prove himself? It's very simple. And it's very deep at the same time. He was in the world of nothingness, in a pre-existence. He was brought forth to this world of, physical world, this world of shapes, material world. He got always this kind of fear to go back to the world of nothingness. So he's looking for eternity. So he is looking, that's intuitively, he is looking for the eternity. But he always looks for the eternity in wrong places. You see, mankind is like going after these studies, looking for money. It's not about the money itself. It's to secure the longevity. He wants to live longer. He knows that his youth, his body is going to expire one day. His life is going to go one day. He tried to buy insurance, life insurance, as they call it in this modern society. The first sacrifice was revealed in the book, in the divine book, whether in the First Testament, Second Testament, the Quran. They don't call it the Third Testament, by the way. I don't know why. That's strange. The first, when you say the first and the second, meaning they have a link with each other. But there is no third. I don't know why, but they don't call it the Third Testament. Somehow, it's not our topic. It's a question mark. When the Creator spoke to Muhammad, may the peace and blessing of God be upon him, he said, "Oh Muhammad, tell them the truth about Adam's sons." The two sons of Adam, these are the first ones who gave sacrifice. They sacrificed something. So the word sacrifice was, this is the first one on this planet. Philosophers, what they want to say, interpreters, what they want to say, scientists want to say, good luck to everybody. So we are going to the source, which is the Quran. Okay, so good. So he said, tell them the truth. Why he asked him to tell them the truth? Why he told him to tell them the truth? Oh, Muhammad, tell them the authenticity about what happened. When he says something to someone, look, I'm going to tell you something, I'm going to tell you the truth about it. Therefore, there was some kind of lies before. Yes, of course. Today I'm going to tell you the truth because a lot of stories were fabricated. People throughout this history, they don't understand something. So they say, maybe it's because of this. So the maybe becomes sacred. In the beginning, it's a maybe. It's a probability, uncertainty. And then I think so. And then, oh, I'm positive. Oh, that's it, sacred. Celebrate it. This is how the sacredness in this world. So, tell them the truth, because what is the link? We know one person killed another. One brother, Cain and Abel. One brother killed his brother. But what is the link between the two? We don't want to go through the stories. Those kind of like scenarios, what happened. You say, no, it's not what happened. Truly, it's not what was fabricated. One twin brother and sister. God asked him to marry the other one. And because his sister was more beautiful than the other one, he didn't want to give his sister, therefore he killed. You don't find the link, acceptable link between these stories. It might happen, but that's not the main cause of the fratricide. In other words, killing a brother. What said here? He said, tell them the truth about what happened, the two brothers. And then he said, in Arabic, this article is kind of like all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden something pops up to the person's consciousness and to do something. You know, it seems like there is no prior story, introduction to that kind of like a sudden impulse that pops up to the person's consciousness. No. The decision came that time. Yes, that's true, to do something, but there was some history, some background. So the two brothers, they decided to give a sacrifice. By the way, the word sacrifice in in Arabic, in the Quran, say al-Qurban. Al-Qurban is the approach to get closer. Qarraba, they give something to get closer. إِذْ قَرَّبَا قُرْبَانًا. Did God say, to whom did they both get closer to? No, he didn't speak about the destination. He said, but both of them they gave. Both of them they decided to give. So, what did they give? We have no idea. By the way, between brackets, some words we have to explain. So what does it mean to give something, to sacrifice, to give to someone? And to give a sacrifice to someone, to give a sacrifice for the sake of someone. To give a sacrifice to someone, hey, probably I sacrifice an animal. In other words, I slaughter an animal and then I give the meat to some poor people. Or maybe, it could be a gift, huh? But to give a sacrifice for the sake of someone, that the audience, which audience has dominated your consciousness, that you devoted yourself to at the moment of the sacrifice. You get my point? That's the sake of. So it seems both of them, they give a sacrifice, as I said, to get closer, to approach them, to someone. But God didn't specify the destination, okay? To whom the gesture was meant to. So, now, we're going to go a little deeper. Why the person wants to give a sacrifice? We spoke about this to validate himself and to look for something. But something is, the audience, the main audience that supervises your consciousness. You exposed your consciousness to these call God, divinity. Your consciousness will have the splendor, you will have the time and the space according to that audience. I don't know if I'm making myself understandable. The time is a time, we have the general time, okay? There's no, we cannot modify. But how you insert the time into the neurons of your existence, into your mind. Time, what are you talking about? No. The time corresponds to the audience that you devoted yourself to. If the audience is temporal, which is the institution most of the time, as is mankind dominated by Allati wal Uzza, that's fine. If the institution bankrupts, your emotions will bankrupt with. If Allati wal Uzza get disintegrated, your emotions will be disintegrated, the same thing. If the audience that you generated voluntarily, you devoted the sacrifice to, is the absolute beyond time and space, that's how your emotions will be. So you extend your life according to the audience. I don't know if it's clear. It seems like it is. So we have one gave a sacrifice to God. Another one, did he give sacrifice to God? We don't know yet. Next, God said, فَتُقُبِّلَ مِنْهُ مِنْ أَحَدِهِمَا وَلَمْ يُتَقَبَّلْ مِنَ الْآخَرِ. He said, it was accepted from one of them and it was not accepted from the other. Why God used the passive voice? God, why the passive voice? If God just supposedly, saying that if God said it in active voice, I accepted from one of them and I did not accept from the other, what would cross your mind? Meaning the responsibility of acceptance and the responsibility of rejection relies on the Creator, which is not the case, astaghfirullah. As long as the gesture is for God's sake, God would welcome it. It's one egg, a sheep, a bullion of gold. Yeah, He welcome it. If the gesture was not, or it was not meant for the Creator, let's give a small example. We have Mr. Johnny here, he gives a gesture or he gives a gift to Jessica. Are you going to give your hand? It was for Jessica. يتعالى الله عن ذلك علوا كبيرا. He gave the gesture, he gave the gift to Jessica. Are you going to give your hand? That's not for you. Astaghfirullah. If the gesture, or for God's sake, it was meant for him, for God, God would have welcomed it. Now, what is the difference between the two? All of a sudden he said, I will kill you. Where is the validity? Where is the validation? We know that there was a fire came from heaven that showed the acceptance from the non-acceptance. We're not getting into that. I'm trying to explain it philosophically. Because I'm not going to go to just a religious person, or religiously, he has a temple, is that for the Muslims, or for the Jews, or for the Christians? No. That's concern everybody. And actually, that's the Quran. The Quran is for everybody. When they ask the Prophet, is this Quran for Arabs or for the non-Arabs? Sometimes we find some words, they are not even Arabic, It's what they told him, the Prophet. So the answer came from the Creator, tell them, هُوَ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. It's for the believers. It has nothing, it doesn't have a language. You know what I'm saying? So it has to do with your heart, how receptive you are. So, فَتُقُبِّلَ مِنْ, it was accepted from one of them, it was not accepted from the other. This one, now, the last gesture, what is the link between the non-acceptance of this person whose sacrifice was rejected by himself? He felt it. He felt it himself. You know what I'm saying? There is no kind of stamp, a validated visa or non-visa. No, he felt it. This person felt the expansion in his heart. The expansion because the gesture was for God's sake. And at the moment of his gesture, there was the self-effacement. The self-effacement, in other words, he eliminated the me. There is no me. It's everything for God. You know what I'm saying? Sake. This is what gave him the longevity, the expansion, the eternity. And then that time, it was 2, 3, 5, 10 minutes. The 10 minutes became sempiternity and eternity. There's no age. When you have the supervision, the seniorial supervision of the divinity, everything starts to flow. We have alim al-mulk, this on the physical world. And we have alim al-malakut, which is the world of al-jinn wal-malaika, which is the metaphysical world. And then we have the world of Jabarut. This is Asma Allah al-Husna, ma yaliqu bi jalalih. So this physical world, it doesn't move, it's a rock. When you generate the supervision of the Creator. The absolute that is beyond time and space, that rock itself, it starts getting dispersed. It flows. You don't see it with the naked eye, but you see it with your heart. Do you get my point? And this is your vehicle of navigation when you close your eyes. This is the bootstrap of your life. Your emotions will take you as buraq. But this person, he gave it to himself. How do you know that? It cannot be a link to kill someone. This person, all his life was to defy. Why? And this is the cataclysm of this existence, is the self-aggrandizement. He was living all his life as a challenge in comparison of another one, comparing to another, comparing against, to defy him. I'm going to show him, to defy him. You know what I'm saying? The first creature who tried to validate himself and was dominated by the personal pronoun I, he was Mr. Lucifer. By the time God asked him to prostrate to Adam, he said, I'm better than him. So he tried to validate himself while devaluating something, a devaluation of another person. So the self-aggrandizing person cannot exist. He depends on otherness. Not otherness in a good way, otherness by putting them down. I have to prove myself, I have to put you down, otherwise I feel miserable. And this is the self-aggrandizing person. Pride, vanity. He creates always adversaries, opponents, up to the point they become enemies. This person didn't have anybody. His eyes were pointed on the Creator. Oh, wait a minute, sir. How pointed on the Creator? Didn't the Prophet Muhammad say that God is in the front of the person who is praying? He said he's in front of you. So your eyes, your eyes can see is the wall. Yes, but because of the audience that you generated in your mind, in your conscience, your eyes will shift the responsibility to your brain, and your brain will transpierce the wall. Any wall. There's nothing more powerful, more than magma, more than a volcano, like as the emotions. They will transpierce everything in front of you to go to the horizon. سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم. We will show them our signs in the horizons, even though there is one horizon. We will show them. So that's how your mind will transpierce because of that audience. You got my point here? This person, the one that decided to kill his brother, he gave it to himself. Tightness that he thought probably by taking the life of his brother, it will bring him back the harmony of life. Unfortunately, this is what he did. In criminology, they study this, but still they scratch the surface. They go to the point like they say there is something secret in mankind to go to this kind of serial killer or something, that he is self-absorbed, and then something becomes legitimized in his mind, and then, you know what I'm saying? But they scratch the surface. They don't know the depth of this. But anyway, he said, I will kill you. You know, he didn't say it, I will. He said, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. The decision is taken prior to the time of speaking in grammar. So, in Arabic, there is a lam al-ta'lil wa noon al-tawkid al-thaqila. So it's a kind of, yo man, no doubt about it. In other words, it is as if he is driven, that act of criminology, of fratricide, it was against his will. Wow, what do you mean against his will? He was dragged by big forces to do that. What kind of force? And why this person didn't have that? God said it was فَسَوَّلَتْ لَهُ نَفْسُهُ قَتْلَ أَخِيهِ. His soul told him to kill his brother. Why this person, his soul didn't tell him to kill his brother? So this person, his soul, you know, the last decision shows you what person was percolating, was inserting all his life. And the last decision, it where they became compulsions in psychology, les compulsions, these are irresistible psychic forces that they drag the person. All resulted from the self-aggrandizement. He will have no control over it, that's it. So, you can understand the encyclopedia that the Prophet Muhammad came to teach, like humbleness, down to earth. See, in the US, they talk a lot about this. They talk about this in the corporate environment. Oh, he's down to earth. Oh, she's not down to earth. I'm down to earth. They just use it. That is linked to the consumer-producer system from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock afternoon. So, and then, of course, I promise, I buy you flower February 14. So anyway, so this person, as I said, the compulsions, in other words, irresistible forces dragged him to kill his brother. Do you see what the sacrifice is? In few days, 4 days ahead of us to celebrate the sacrifice. If you get a chance, we're going to have another video about Abraham, alayhi salam. Why and how did he sacrifice, or he wanted to sacrifice? What was the source of this sacrifice, etc. If you get a chance. Hopefully this, as they say, just we share some bill of wisdom. I wish good luck to everybody, and I talk to you soon.